that's what makes it special. If you rush so fast onto the next one, you hardly remember that, you got that West Virginia, and, we got this, good win over Colorado. So I'm going to say I want the bus ride, and I want to say 20 minutes. If we get 20 minutes of just sitting and talking about Sid and talking about Hannah Stalky, double-double. And she didn't let up a rebound to number 21. That's awesome. So we're going to need Hannah to be confident going into LSU as you bring them up. So I'm hoping 20 minutes after the bus, and then we'll turn the page.
Colorado obviously led.
Colorado
led, at halftime of last year's game, and you guys played a much better game this year. You mentioned the 15-2 ratio. What was the difference for Caitlin this year versus last year?
I feel like, for us to keep moving forward, or certainly to have a competitive game and another great game to compete in and watch, is to play with that freedom. And I think the march of Caitlin this whole season, Lisa said it, I don't want to be redundant, but I think by and large, that kid has shouldered so much and has handled it pretty doggone well, with a few exceptions here and there. And I also think so has this team. I think sometimes we mention this team and we say, they've done so well. This team has given a lot, and lovingly so. But a lot of people's careers would be a lot different both ways if they didn't play with the GOAT, right? But they have given, and they've had the motivation that comes to the other teams just because they're playing Caitlin Clark and everybody else. That's hard on these kids. And they just put their heads down and get our footing, and they just charge ahead. So I think I'm so dang happy for the way Caitlin, she played, she got here. We got in this moment again, and now, man, it's gonna be tough. But it's it's what everybody's wanted, right, since last year. You probably polled anybody in women's basketball. Let's see that rematch again. And you gotta beat everybody to get what you want. Someone asked me, they're like, hey, what do you think about LSU? I'm like, it's going to be a great game, I hope. Hope it's going to be more competitive than it was the last time, right? So I think Caitlin just kind of got here, played with a little more freedom, and we have some good confidence because we have other kids that, are stepping up.
You guys have talked about veteran maturity of this team all season.
Yeah.
Does the next 48 hours kind of feel like the ultimate test of that?
Yeah, I think it does. I feel like
there's going to be so many non-basketball distractions.
Yeah, I feel like they've had to really withstand a lot. Caitlin particularly, but she's she never makes excuses. She knows who she is, and sometimes what she does. Sometimes she doesn't intend to bring all that on, but I think they're smart enough that at this point it comes down to 40 minutes, and everything that happened last year, everything that's happened this year, it's just an opportunity that you get to have a shot at a team that really got you. And I think they're excited for the opportunity, but I don't think it's any bigger to them than I think what's going to be made of it. I really don't. I think that they've had you talk about from last April till now, that was a heck of a 3 weeks after, and it's just, there's been a lot that's been so out of their control. I just think they're so happy we got this one, and now we got a shot to go, play better against a really, really good team. And obviously Kim Mulkey knows what the heck she's doing and her staff. So we're just excited for the opportunity, and I think their heads are going to be right. I really do.
How do you think the Post did?
I think they did great. Honestly, Hannah Stalky had a double-double. 21 didn't get a rebound. And I know sometimes there's it bounces your way, but I think that's awesome. And I feel like there was a couple, maybe Hannah got a little bodied. I wish we could have finished. But overall, she didn't back down. I thought AJ Ediger went in there and did a great job. I got her, we got her some minutes. I thought Addie was solid. But what I like about AJ, she's a little gritty. She's a little strong. She doesn't back down. And I have a feeling we might need that on Monday night. And that's why I wanted to get AJ some minutes, because you never know how that game is going to be called foul-wise. And every one of them have got to feel good going into it. And I think they should. I'm not, it wasn't like they had a perfect efficiency game. It wasn't, like, oh, they were hitting everywhere. But, they counteracted those bigs. And what they got, I think Colorado should have gotten. by sheer size. But I think they had to fight for it, and a lot of times when we fronted, we didn't have the help. But I feel overall it was a really, really great performance. And
They
in
got
fact,
they got their kids on the bench.
Yeah.
For most of the first
they did.
half.
So we got them in foul trouble, and then when the other ones came in, they didn't. I don't, to my knowledge, they didn't really hurt us either. So I thought it was just a great performance. And now we're going to face a lot of size and a lot of athleticism and speed, all of them, not just Reese as the forward. But I feel really good about him for this game, and I think they should too.
What did you think of the
Posting is winning. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, I do believe that.
Thanks, Jim.
What did you think of the rebounding effort today? Last year when you faced Colorado, they 21-7
So
on the
much
offensive
better. Yeah,
rebounds.
I
They
mean,
beat you.
believe me, Lisa was preaching that about every day when we knew we were, we mentioned it last week of practice, depending how we were going to fare, even when we saw Colorado come up, because you kind of talk about all your matches. But this whole thing, it was like 22 O boards last year, 22 O boards, and I feel like they really made a concerted effort for that. So I think that is the key. I mean, it's all about possessions, right? So we were really happy with that. And we're going to have it because LSU is a walking rebounding machine.
Yeah. And then defensively, the last two games, it feels like the teams, there may be an extra level of locked in on the defensive end. What do you feel like has changed over the last
I
games?
just feel like the people who are, coming off the bench, that's a lot of their strengths. Like Alfolter had a big charge, right? It was 12-14, but she had a big charge. You never know what's going to happen on a three-point play. But she's a good on-ball defender coming off the bench. Sid Alfolter now in the starting lineup, but when she wasn't starting, she came into the 2, 3, or the 4, and she was a good defender. Got a nose for the ball, really good rebounder. Hannah's a really good rebounder. Kate's always been a good rebounder. So it's kind of like a lot more of the minutes, a little bit more better defenders collectively. And I just feel like they have a little better synergy of how they're playing together, and really knowing what that defense, we got to have it. And I feel like there's been a little bit more focus on it. But I also think it's, the people who are getting a lot of minutes, whether on the bench or off, are they're a little more proud of that defensive effort in their game. So I think that's what you're seeing.